We will do this presentation in English because we have a lot of guests coming from abroad. A warm welcome to Stockholm, to all of you. I'm very happy that you all took your time to come. First of all, I would like to introduce Stefan Rattel, the GT4 founder and the CEO of SRO Motorsport Group. A very warm welcome to you, Stefan, for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you, Edward. It's a real pleasure to be back in Sweden, to be here with you today. I think it's the first time we're back with GT Racing, organized and promoted by SRO since 2003, when we were in Anderstorp with the FIA GT Championship. I have very good memories, personal memories in Anderstorp in '94, because next to promoting racing, I also had my own team at the time, and we were running Ferrari F40. Some of you may remember it, a blue car under colors of Pilot, and we were racing against the almighty McLaren F1 GTR. And it's the only race where Ferrari beat the McLarens. They won 10 races, we won 1, and it was in Anderstorp, '95, so it's a very good memory. So yes, I've been promoting GT Racing for 25 years, promoted GT1, promoted GT2, promoted and created GT3. And after we created GT3 for the FIA, which was the global success it has become and that you all know about, we thought, a friend, a Belgian friend, Pascal Whitmer, came to me and said, we should do another class now, we should do GT4. I said, GT4, come on, we just started with GT3. No, we should do GT4 for the smaller GT cars. Okay, and so we went on, we registered the name, we started the category in 2006. For about 4, 5, 7, 6 years. It was not that successful. There was a good championship, especially in Holland, but it didn't spread around the world until Porsche came to see me and said, we have the GT1, the GT2, the GT3, and we would like to have the name GT4. And I said, the name GT4, I have the name GT4, so we should make a deal. And I said, okay, we can make a deal, but all our GT cars at SRO are racing, so you should be racing. So they said, okay, then we're going to do a GT4 race car, and the GT4 race car was a huge success. They sold more than 400 cars. I think it's been the biggest overnight success of the Porsche competition customer department. And then other manufacturers look at it, and then they also produce GT4 cars, and the category has spread to become really a global success. We now have GT4 series competing in many places around the world, in Europe and in Asia and in America. We'll tell you more about it. But what really is the success of GT4? The success of GT4 is that, first of all, it's affordable. And it's essentially focused on non-professional drivers that can race in a successful Pro-Am formula, where an Am races with a Pro, or they can race 2 Ams together in the Am class. They are 1-hour races with a driver change in the middle. They can be eventually, and some of the championship, like such as the British GT, also have 2-hour races and even 1 3-hour race, but it's essentially a sprint formula. Because it's affordable, it has attracted a very large number of manufacturers. And this is probably what we're the most proud of, is that to have all these cars racing together. To the difference of GT3, which is only for big manufacturers, where cars need to be produced at large numbers. Many people came to me at the time and said, if you were in charge in the 50s, Ferrari would have never become Ferrari. I said, okay, maybe you're right. And we should leave room for smaller constructors. While GT3 is only about manufacturers, GT4 mixes together large manufacturer and small constructors, such as KTM, such as Ginetta, such as Sin. What you see here, it's where we are today, but we have at least another 3 cars will be coming. 2 of them will be presented this year. you will know about when they are officially presented, and at least another one and probably more in 2019. So it's really a global category which attracts more and more attention. As a SRO, we promote it in two ways. Outside of Europe, we give franchise agreement to promoters. We promote them, so we have a franchise agreement with Australia, we have a franchise agreement with China. We're discussing actually a franchise agreement with Russia. But in Europe, we are more directly involved. We also have our own championship in America, the Pirelli World Challenge, which runs a full GT4 class, and we have a GT4 category also in our Blancpain GT series in Asia. And in Europe, we started initially with one championship, which is the GT4 European Series, which was all over Europe. Last year, we divided it in two, with a North Championship and a South Championship starting in France. Our initial goal was to have 16 to 18 cars, and we ended up with 30, and it looks like we'll have between 35 and 40 this year. So we said, okay, if it can boom so quickly and grow so quickly, we should go for more series around Europe, either organized directly by SRO or in partnership. And we are very happy to launch today the Nordic European Cup, the Central European Cup, which is based around Germany, a German-speaking series, and also a Belgium Cup in Belgium and around Belgium, considering the number of cars which are being produced by the GT4 manufacturers, and even if delivery may be a bit difficult at the beginning, I am sure that there will be enough interest from teams and drivers to compete with these cars. And I think I'm very happy here to have found the right partners, and I've seen with Edward and with Matthias drivers that know about racing, that I find extremely motivated, and I have no doubt that they're going to build a success. And I want to thank them really for their hard work in making this presentation today. And I wish them and us a lot of success in this part of Europe. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Stefan. Thanks, Stefan. Now I'm going to do an introduction of myself. I never said it before. My name is Edvard Sandström, and to those of you who never heard my name or don't know me, I started to race cars 15 years ago in a Renault 5 at Kinnekulle Ring. 23 years have passed away, and I'm still as enthusiastic as I was back then. And I must say I have the privilege to work with something I really love, cars and racing. And this have taken me around the world, I would say. Most of the time I've been behind the wheel of a GT car as a works driver. But I have also been working a lot with amateur drivers. I've been an instructor at the Scuderia Hanseatic courses, and I've really seen the joy and happiness of participants learning something new, and so on. And I really feel I can share this passion with them for racing and motorsport. And that's what GT4 is all about, having fun and share the joy of racing. With close racing as well, to a relatively affordable price tag, I would say. This year I helped Mercedes-AMG to develop the GT4 car, and I really enjoyed to drive it. And an idea began to form in my head. I wanted something with GT4. I contacted Stefan, and he was very motivated, and just said to me, "Go for it, Edward. Introduce it in the Nordic countries." And here we are today. It's a great day for me. But when I started to, this idea began to form in my head, I got a flashback from 2010. I was racing with an inexperienced amateur in the FIA GT3, and we had such a great time together. I really loved this year. I always comes back to that time to time. Even with him, he's still a close friend of mine, and we discuss it in between each other, and can really, we achieved something amazing together. We started the year and he was 4 seconds off the pace. And later on in the year, we won races together. At Solder, we won the race. And I can tell you, I don't want to boast it, but that's a good feeling. And that's also what GT4 is about. So I repeat, it's fantastic cars, enthusiastic drivers. If you then add a professional driver to it, it would be amazing. And that's what GT4 is all about. To an affordable price tag. Being a works driver means that you are well aware of the high costs. I say high because the cost level is very high. And it's easy to forget the time when the Renault 5 was the tool. But GT4 has brought something new, a new level into racing. The cars are having a high performance, but it's pretty easy to handle those cars. They have driver aids like traction control, ABS systems, and they are there to help you. And you may think that I don't need it. To all of you, I say you are wrong, because I use them as well. I need them too. I want to go faster. GT4 cars are pretty unique. They're easy to drive, cost efficient, and they still look and feel like proper race cars. That's what you want. You want proper race cars, a good feel and look. And personally, I like when they have rear-wheel drive. That makes everything more exciting. To date, it's 15 manufacturers, as Stefan said, who have homologated GT4 cars. And that means you easily can find your favorite car. What is your favorite car? Do you know, or do you need to look? But you can find a lot of different cars. Swedish racing, in my opinion, have missed the opportunity to fill the gap for unexperienced, motivated, enthusiastic drivers that comes from track days and this. And if they could join a pro driver, I think that would be the easiest way to get into racing. My vision is to close that gap. As you probably understand by now and by Stefan's speak, we are going to introduce the GT4 Nordic European Cup. I think you have a fairly good understanding of the format. A full day of racing that includes training, qualifying, 2 races, 2 drivers per car, 1-hour races, which is very important. I believe you guys want to drive. I don't like to be on the racetrack, sit there and wait. I think you want to drive. And I want to be a part of giving you the chance to drive. With the help of Stefan and his organization, SRO, We're going to make it happen 2018 already. I believe in this strongly. I've been working really hard the last month to create it. And I'm also amazed because we have 5 car manufacturers here from all over Europe today. And that shows how strong this foundation and belief in GT4 is. They took their cars, they brought them to Sweden, they sent their good ambassadors in form of their customer racing employees. And that's fantastic. It has never happened in Sweden before that they come to us and they want to present their tools. We are planning 5 race events, and we want to do 10 races, as we always do, 2 one-hour races. But as we think, you have friends that also wants to drive, we're going to do a bit of a different format. I think some people of you have friends that maybe have a sports car and also want to drive, and we will fill that gap. We will close the gap. And we think also that the importers in Sweden needs to activate their clients. And we will fill gap that too. And there is more, because without media you don't exist. And therefore, my old friend and colleague Mattias Ekström, you maybe know him, he will join us with his media team from the IKS RX and the RX World. They have done some remarkable content, really good content. And now they're going to be the content machine of the GT4 Nordic European Cup. You will shortly meet Team Boman, IKS marketing manager of IKS RX. And now off to something completely different. I would like to welcome Nico Amende from BMW Motorsport Customer Racing. Thanks for being here.
Hello. Hello. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here, and thanks for the invitation, especially thanks to Edward and to Matthias. Yes, Edward said, we really believe in the GT4 category, and I think that it's the perfectly category and class also for Scandinavian countries. And normally I'm responsible for customer racing strategy at our BMW Motorsport headquarters. So I will tell you something why we developed a GT4 car. Also I know about our customers, hopefully. And then I will give you some details about the GT4 car, about the M4 GT4, about our support from BMW Motorsport itself, and about our expectations in the GT4 category. If you go behind BMW Motorsport, then you see our strategy that we have 3 categories. We have our entry-level car with the M235R Racing, with 170 cars worldwide. It's a beginner car, but also it's a car for ambitious race drivers, and sometimes also our works drivers have to drive on Nordschleife with that car. I think Matthias, also our DTM drivers, they had the chance to do that, and but they're all smiling with that car, and I think it's a perfect gentleman car for beginners. Then we have our M6 GT3, our top-level product, and for sure it's a car for professional teams. It's a car for our highlight events, such as 24-hour Nürburgring or Spa, and so the GT4 category perfectly fits in the mid-level category, and it combines everything. It's a easy handling car, and it's a car for high performance and for the best results in a race or in a championship. And also, if you look back in our history, and also I think if you think about what is customer racing, then it's not work-supported racing, it's not the professional racing, it's the true racing is a customer racing from gentleman drivers, from young drivers, and this is the backbone of GT racing. And I read this in a presentation from Stefan Rattel. The backbone of GT racing, and so we have to take care about this. And this is also philosophy, our philosophy, and that's why we developed a GT4 car. And 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we decided to develop this car because there's a strong environment, a stable future with SAO, with its partners, and especially thanks to Stefan Rattel, because as a manufacturer, it's very important to know what you have to do in 2 or 3 years. If you look, who is our customer? We have had such a lot of requests from customers. For sure, BMW, we are a premium manufacturer. Normally, the teams or the drivers, but especially the teams, are complaining about the expensive costs of a car. And for sure, we always tell the customers, yeah, the costs are lower than at the last car. But in GT3, it's really difficult. And so there are a lot of teams where they were searching, and they are searching for cars which combines the cost efficiencies aspects, but also to have a car for professional or semi-professional drivers, and to compete in a championship, and to have good results for the podium. And if you look at our car, the M4 GT4, I think we combine everything. Cost efficiency, because we use the proven technology from the M4 Coupe. We use the engine, 431 horsepower, depending on the BOP. But also we have a high mileage because it's more, we use the series-based technology. For example, gearbox and engine change is after 30,000 kilometers, and then you just take off the old part and put in the new part. So it's quite easy for handling, not to send back the old part and so on. And with the GT4, also gentleman drivers were involved in the development of the car very early. And that was very helpful for us, because normally BMW Motorsport, we have our factory race drivers, which are very good for testing a car for sure, but also some details. For example, now we have several USB power sticks, which you just put in, and you have the right BOP setting. Also, the customers, they receive one power stick to put in, and then you have the maximum power, and you can use it for a track day. Also, air conditioning is a standard, and also you can see that gentleman drivers developed the car, because on the switch panel we have bigger buttons than in the M6 GT3 car, and also I think that the illumination is better. it's really a car for gentleman drivers, and this is this is very good for that car. Also, if you ask about, okay, in the Nordic European Cup, you use Pirelli tires, or you will, as I know. So we developed the car with several tire brands, and the whole package you can buy for 169,000 euros. And if a customer will decide for our car, then we have also it's quite interesting for customers that they can go to their dealership all over the world, and you can go to a dealer and you can buy motorsport parts and also the series-based parts. Also, we will have our track engineers at several championships, also a spare part truck, but this depends on the number of cars running in the championships. And also we support our drivers with our sports trophy championship. It's a long history at BMW, more than 50 years, that we have this customer racing championships where race driver and teams collect points all over the world, and they can earn money, in total 350,000 euros. And by the way, I can tell you, if you buy a car today, then I can invite you to our ceremony tonight, because I will fly later back to Munich with Matthias Ekström, but I think we have to look later if you will join me. Yes, and I think also important is our expectation, if you talk about GT4 category. And we think that the GT4 category is a strong category, that the category will grow in the future. And also we think that there is a strong environment, as I said before. And I think that's the most important thing is we love motorsport, and it's quite boring if you just competing against another BMW. So for us, this is a core element of the GT4 category, that customers with different manufacturers can fight against each other. And yeah, if you will decide for a BMW, I'm here for you later. And as Edward said, yeah, we really love the GT4 category, and especially I think for Scandinavia and for Sweden, it's the right choice. Thank you.
Sure. And now we would like to bring KTM and Reiter Engineering. Welcome, Naomi Schiff.
Thank you.
And Hans Reiter. Thanks for coming.
Good evening.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get started, I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Naomi Schiff. I'm a sales and marketing representative at Reiter Engineering. Unlike some of our counterparts, we're not as big of a manufacturer, so I thought it would be a good idea to introduce you to our company. Reiter Engineering was founded in the year 2000 in the very small village of Kirchenschöring in Germany. We currently employ 45 employees who are all specialized in various areas in motorsports. We are best known, in fact, for manufacturing over 150 GT1 and GT3 Lamborghinis, also 8 Camaro GT3s, and obviously the reason why we're here today, the KTM Expo GT4, which we currently manufacture together with KTM sports cars. On that note, Hans Reiter, our CEO.
Thank you. I mean, I brought her because it just makes me look better. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, we all were asked the same question by Edward, why GT4? So that's why I guess all the presentations are quite similar. I wouldn't say why GT4. I mean, we have a rich writer engineering. We have a rich history with Lamborghini, as you just learned. And the question was for me, why not a Lamborghini? It was logical to us with this long history. The thinking for me, and I believe when I look into the future of motorsport, we see the very high-end championships are struggling. And people would like to believe motorsport is struggling, but it's exactly the opposite. If you go to a track day, at least in Germany or in Central Europe where we go south, they're full. 10 years ago we had 15 cars. Now if you go to Spa, they have 150 cars. You nearly can't drive there. There's more and more people coming into motorsport. This is a matter of fact because I mean, when I was young, we raced on the motorway. That's even in Germany, that's over now. People are having these nice cars which they want to use, and they're going to track days. And many of these super nice cars are not really built for a track day. So our idea was, how can we make the technology which we developed in GT3 over 10 years now affordable? And therefore, we picked the KTM as a base car because we just thought it's a super efficient street car. It has everything it needs. And from there, we put our GT3 technology, if you want, so pedal shift, ABS, braking, traction control, all this into a package and made it a relative affordable GT4 car. And you know, with GT4, we learned already it's more cost efficient. The good thing really, what you will have, you will see different cars pricing from here to there. And the good thing with the BOP, you may like it or you may not like it. The good thing is it doesn't matter what car you buy today or what you have in mind. You can win the championship with the cheapest car and with the most expensive car. It's really up to you what you prefer and how you see your investment. You know, you can buy the perfect car. We think our philosophy was we go for an affordable car that some money of your budget is left over for testing and driving, because it's not about only purchasing and buying a car, it's really the running costs, which sometimes are quite a negative surprise. And there we really worked on to get that into control. And yeah, why are we here, especially in this Nordic Championship? Whenever Rattel starts something, it works. Yeah, he has now 15 championships. We are with Reiter and SRO. We are racing in championships of Stefan Rattel since the year 2000. And we have learned that they have the very best understanding what the customers needs and what the customers wants, and therefore they are successful. That's what I believe. Yeah. We were asked as one question, who is your typical customer? Actually, at KTM we don't have a typical customer. The car, the design is very unique. You will see outside, either you love it or you hate it. There's nothing in between. You know, we have people who fall in love with the car and the others think it's a terrible car. So you will love it or you will not love it at all. Technically speaking, yeah, it is designed to be easy to drive. That was one of our main targets. It has all the features of a GT3 car. Is it central lock system? Is it automatic upshift even? So you even don't need to upshift, downshift, and braking you still need to do yourself, and steering. But that's really it. The rest is does the car for you. Yeah, technical. What do we have to offer? You will see. For the money, you will get quite a lot of carbon. The body is carbon, the chassis is carbon, and yeah, we couldn't find really more places to fit carbon onto it. Still, it's something for a good price, we think. And in terms of safety, the KTM monocoque, when we decided to go for KTM, was for me and it's still the monocoque is 8 years old. It's still the best monocoque on the market from all cars. Why? The drivers are sitting very much nearly in the middle. They are very close together. So if you have a side impact, you have half a meter of carbon which is protecting you. You're really protected. The chassis was originally designed from Dallara with the thinking of a two-seater Formula car. And that's the safety features you have now. You have all frontal crash impact. And what you also have is a roll cage which can take a load of 13 tons without deformation. That means if you drop the car from your house, there's maybe a hole in the asphalt, but not in the car. It's really massive. Yeah, we thought it is the first priority for us if something happens that you get out of the car and you still can sign the check for repairing the car. What we have today with BOP, obviously the KTM, when we built it, as I said, we used lots of carbon, so we came up with a car, 970 kilos. It's relatively light, and therefore also the performance is more close to GT3 than it is to GT4. Anyway, we have POP, we have to put 350 kilos into the car to be balanced with the other cars, or with some. Most of us, I think most manufacturers have to put ballast or reduce power. And we have this situation too. If you somewhere decide to go in additional, 24 hours Nürburgring, you can drive the car open as you like it with no BOPs. And I guess you will enjoy it even more. Yeah, in terms of does it have any success, I think again, the good thing in GT4 is everybody can win, and I think the Ginetta guys will admit you have at the moment the cheapest car and you won the most races out of all of us. And this is really the good thing. You know, they have the most cost-efficient car and they have the most victories. And we are only since 2015 in the boat. We have now, the car has won, I think, three championships through vice titles, about, what do I see, 25,000 races, no, 51 races. And some championships. I don't need to add anything to this. I mean, running costs was the big thing, and I think it set what really is a GT4 for you. It makes a huge difference that every of this car is capable of doing 24 hours. All of our competitors are doing 24-hour races. If you look back in the history of GT4, I please apologize the word, but 8 years ago we had shitboxes. You know, the cars hardly survived an hour and fell apart. Now we have proper designed cars from every manufacturer, and the quality is just very good of everybody. And you can take your GT4 car and go to the next 24-hour race if you like so, and you will have fun, and you will see that your costs are not exploding as it is currently in the higher categories. Yeah, I think that's it from my side. Yeah, customer service, I think we offer what everybody offers. There's no huge difference. What is maybe a bit special on Reiter Engineering, our development engineers, so our programmer, our designer, our electric guy, and our engine guy are also race engineers. And if you call customer support and you have an electric problem, first you have Naomi on the phone, but later you will have directly the engineer who actually caused the problem on the phone, and you can speak to them directly. This is possibly an advantage of a small company. I have to finally just one thing. We are racing in GT4 now since 2 years in the European, and we have this RYS Cup. It's for young drivers. We are running 8 cars there, and we have a system where every car is run by a university. Yeah, so we have 3 engineers from a university running the car, and this is the winner of the engineering contest. So they have our own point system where we grade their engineering level, and the winner is a Swedish university from Kalmars. I hope I spelled it right. The guys are here, so if you want to speak to some potential young race engineers who knows the car and who are not that much trying to sell you something, speak to them. And if you're from Norway, we have Stig Larsen here, who is a friend of us who supports us in Norway. He also can ask your questions, and I hope we have then no language barrier. Thank you for listening.
Thanks. Thanks, Hans. Next speaker, I don't think anyone else can present that brand in a better way, but Audi Sport will be presented by Matthias Ekström.
Thank you, Edward. Really happy to be here. It's not so often I visit Sweden, but today is a very special day for me to present the GT4 Championship together with my best friend Edward. Most of you know my career have been part as being a racing driver, and I've been at Audi Sport for 17 years, and you all know me, I like to be on the podium and win races, but over time I also got more experience than only on the racetrack, so also off the racetrack. And this has been coming from driving a lot of different championships in a lot of different categories. My GT career stopped, unfortunately, because of the time mainly, but before I quitted, I managed to win the 24 Hours of Spa. And that was one of the greatest races, and still is one of the greatest races for me that SRO is organizing. And Stefan Rattel, I think, is, you can't say it often enough, what he have made for GT racing. And when that chapter stopped, I also looked for some new challenges. And that was when I started EKS as a company, doing a world championship team in rallycross. And we started with a lot of motivation, a lot of passion, and from an empty garage until the first win, it took us 6 months. And I will never forget the feeling standing on the roof and celebrating that. But even better was after 3 years, we managed to be world champions, as me as a driver, but also as a team. And I think everybody can understand that you're looking for new challenges. And when Edward came up with a question if I would like to be part of a GT4 series in Sweden, I said for sure, because I think Sweden is always going to be having a big part of my life. And if I can do something for all the people who have been supporting me, either as a partner, as a sponsor, as a marshal, or as a competitor, I would be happy to give my experience to build something when the opportunity is there, so that all of you also can enjoy racing as much as I do. I will also be here today representing the Audi Sport brand, and in the specific case, the car. The car is the Audi R8, which most of people know from the road, but the road version converted into the GT3, which now pretty fresh have been developed by former colleagues of mine who have been in the DTM since many years, into a GT4 version. It has the V10 engine, and depending on the BOP, you can have enough engine power. So I know that you will not be disappointed by that. But what is also important to say is that Audi is not really known for rear-wheel driven cars, and the R8 had quattro from the beginning. But for this case, to be able to join the GT4, there was a road car build with rear-wheel drive, and I think that also shows that Audi really wants to give the opportunity to a lot of people to even join the GT4 category. For me, just a couple of words about Audi Sport customer racing. It's also not as old as Audi Sport for the factory department, but the demand, as everybody said before me, they're able to deliver good and affordable cars from the lowest categories to the very highest. It's a very big demand because the interest in motorsport, I can only agree with Hans Reiter. I see it in Europe, it's very big. And a lot of the knowledge that they have collected from factory sport is carried over to customer racing, plus that the people also start understanding it has to be to a very good and affordable price. And to take that heritage, what Audi Sport have created, and make a customer department, I can only say I'm really proud, because the gain for this is the customers who can have a feel of the spirit. I mean, the expectations in general from GT4, I think Sweden have a lot of great racetracks for such cars. There are a lot of great drivers from the pro level and also all the way down to amateur. The passion is huge, and to have a combination to run this together, I think it's no real need to talk more about this. But what I really also think is important to involve more parties into the motorsport. So when I started my career here, the importers had a very big part of the racing, and we discussed before we all were here that when I started my career, the STCC at the time, there were a lot of manufacturers, and a lot of passion got into it. And I want to involve the importers a bit more, not as factory team, but just to support the teams and the cars which are driving in the GT4, hopefully. And with this, today's life, with social media and so on, we need to deliver content. And I got a lot of experience the last 4 years from the rallycross team, and that's probably the biggest part of my contribution in this project. And later on, Tin Boman from EKS will tell you more. When it comes to racing, everybody knows you want to win, and I'm probably one of the biggest exceptions, but for the people who drive in GT4, I think it's can't be said often enough that the BOP is really the most important part of the racing, that you have really fair racing, so everybody can win if you do a good job. And I think this is also something which is very important for me, that Stefan is here showing up and agreeing with me and Edward how the series will be run, so everybody on the grid has a theoretical chance to win any race. I'm also very happy to be here to answer your questions later on, and I'm now handing back over to Edward. Thanks you for listening, and see you later.
Thanks, Matthias. And now it's time for Ginetta from the UK, Mike Simpson and Ian Fletcher. Welcome to Stockholm.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good.
Hi, everybody. We're not going to do a duet today or sing a song together. It's just for some moral support. But thank you for having us in this wonderful country. We're very sorry we've brought the English rain to Sweden, but we're very, very happy to be here. My name is Mike Simpson. I'm the factory driver for Ginetta. I've had the pleasure of developing all our cars that we've brought out in the last 10 years, and Ian's our sales manager. So Ginetta, the history, it's been around since 1958, founded by 4 brothers, and in the 6 decades it's been open, it's always produced road and race cars to a good level. Lawrence Tomlinson, our chairman, former winner of Le Mans in 2006 with the Panos, with his own private team, L&T. He acquired the company in 2005, and he wanted to create a business where, I'm a professional driver from go-kart to car racing. Lawrence was a businessman who then, looked at racing as a hobby, and it soon became a passion. And we made so many mistakes, as individuals, as youngsters. Which team do you go for? Which car? It's a complete minefield. So we wanted Ginetta to be a structured business where you can come in from go-kart at 14 years old, or you could be an ex-airline pilot at 72 years old. We wanted a business where we could create a ladder structure with vertical integration, start off at an entry-level car, and we can take you to fill your dream. And in a short space of time, we've managed to achieve that. We are the UK's largest manufacturer of racing cars. We've got a wonderful facility in the heart of England, in Yorkshire, and we're employing over 100 people. Everything's done in-house, from the original, the G40 cars through to the LMP1 car, and there's a lot of activity at the factory as we speak. We're building our own engines, autoclaves, carbon fibre, fabrication, you name it, everything is done inside. And there's quite a few familiar faces here today who've taken the chance to come and see Ginetta, and we very much appreciate that. So why GT4? I'm probably the best placed person here to tell you. Ginetta, we've been in GT4 since the inauguration. We was at the original races with Stefan in Nogaro back in 2007, and it's a very English phrase, but we call it the bread and butter, the traditional meal of the Ginetta business. It's the low, cost-effective cars, and what makes it special is it's run by Stefan's organisation. And as drivers, we all want to be the best. You need to put yourself in the best cars, in the best environments, not in a club championship, in a series where you can broadcast yourself internationally. And it was clear for Ginetta from day one that that is the market where we need to be in. And it stood the test of time. 10 years, Ginetta has actively raced, competed in British, European, worldwide GT4. It's sustainable. So for the new manufacturers coming in, a small manufacturer like Ginetta, we've had a great business out of it. Good value. The junior formulas from Clio Cup to Carrera Cup to single seaters are expensive, and the single drivers only. People are realizing there's an opportunity either as trying to get in with a manufacturer as a professional, working with teams, working with a gentleman driver. It's good value. You can split the budgets. It gives also teams a chance to commit to a car, not relying on an individual to bring a car to a team. Homologation and BOP is probably the key success, I think. As Hans Reiter said, the cars are so very different. Ian will talk in detail about our cars shortly, but it's very close. I participate in the BOP every year at Paul Ricard, and Stefan does a wonderful job. In some circuits, your car will not win, and other circuits, you'll go out in free practice one, and you'll be down the road. It's just how it works, and everybody on their day has a chance to win. So who is the customer? It's a great opportunity for ambitious drivers. There used to be a bit of a gap for a young aspiring professional. You've come out of single seaters or karting. Where do you go? The factory seats are all filled in GT3, and GT4 fills that gap. And with open arms now, it welcomes silver drivers, something that was an issue in the early days. But the balance of performance with the drivers and the cars works well. So we can bring drivers from Ginetta Juniors at 14 years old, they can get to 16, they can switch to GT, share a car together, somebody they may have been competing with in our series, split the budget, good value racing, and they can put themselves and pitch themselves in front of the best teams and manufacturers of the world. Pro-Am, generally, I would never buy a race car. I'd love to be in the position to buy a race car, but I try and race them for a living. I would work track days, meet individuals, find guys who want to become racing drivers, teach them to drive. They buy the car, place it with the team, and it gives this wonderful Pro-Am approach to motor racing. And as a professional, you can have a sustained career in Pro-Am. And teams as well. The cars, they are expensive, but nowhere near the levels of GT3. And as it's a worldwide formula. I sell cars and Ian sells cars worldwide. In every continent, we've got a Ginetta Racing, a GT4 car. And it gives teams the confidence to purchase the product because they can sweat the asset. It's not in a workshop waiting month to month for an individual race. You can be out every weekend if you wish with your GT4 car. And Ginetta, as I said, we're slightly different. We are all about finding new drivers. I've personally introduced over 450 new license holders just in the UK to motor racing. These are people I've found on track days, test days, in the offices, in meetings, having dinner. I've brought them into racing with Ginetta cars, and we can put them up this ladder at the entry level. We're not aiming straight in at a GT car. It's X amount of 100,000 euros. We do the groundwork. 2 days ago, I was sat next to a 13-year-old kid doing 120 miles an hour in a race car. We're all about nurturing the talent and giving people the opportunity. And our customer base as well, we're already here. Ginetta is in Sweden. We've been here for many years with Leif Lindström as our promoter. We've had the successful G20 championship and the G40. It's amazed me, but Leif's done a stunning job with that. And there's quite a few drivers and teams and customers in here today. And it's great to see some of you are already going to commit to Edward's series as well. So thank you for that. So I'll hand over to Ian, who'll give you specifics of the car.
Good afternoon, everybody. Pleasure to be here. I'm going to speak a little bit about the car. We have the most successful GT4 car available on the market. 98 GT4 career victories so far and counting. We have an enviable, proven winning record with this car. It is a turnkey car. Straight out of the factory, it will win races straight away. It is designed as a racing car, uncompromising in that respect, and we have proven reliability. The specification includes a 3.7 Ginetta-developed V6 engine capable of 385 horsepower and a BOP weight of around about 1,200 kilograms. The latest iteration of this vehicle has Bosch Motorsport ABS multi-setting system, as well as upgrades for reliability with a Motec PDM and Motec C125 dashboard. This car has been designed by racers, for racers, as Mike alludes to, with everything in the factory that we go through. This really is, if you want to win races with this in this series, this is the car for you. Ginetta support for the Nordic GT4 series. As Mike has said, we have local presence with a Ginetta Sweden, established and respected in this region. We have technical support available direct from the factory in the UK and local presence with parts support, technical support. And Ginetta have a proven track record of working directly with teams and the drivers, with customer support, customer supported teams, the factory not taking on your customer teams directly. And we want to help you win. We want to help you push this series forward, push your drivers, push your teams, and go from there.
Okay, and the final slide from us. Expectations for Ginetta and the Nordic Series. We want to have the largest presence here. As Ian said, we are the best value car on the market. We've won worldwide. Very cost effective to run. We give a warranty on the drivetrain. So if you have a problem in the warranty period, the data which you submit to us is all legit. There has been a genuine problem, which happens in motor racing. You give us a call and we sort the engine, the drivetrain out. It's, the car, we're very lucky. We've developed it over time. This car I've been selling since 2013. We've won Dubai 24 Hours 5 times. It's won in Asia. It's won the Miami 500. It's a car which has been developed by the factory, but we've been very lucky enough to have wonderful customer teams developing the product with us. We don't supply the cars with any optional extras. You will put a passenger seat in if you wish. But the car from the factory will work in any climate of this world. It's a turnkey car. I've sent a car in a container to Dubai 24 hours, a brand new car. It's won Dubai, and the car doesn't even need to change a set of brake pads in the Dubai 24 hours. There's not many GT cars that are designed to do that. Okay. Driver development is something I'm keen, and my role within the business is starting to lead this way. But we're here to develop drivers. There's some drivers in the room who I know very well that have come and raced LMP3 cars with me, our successful Ginetta prototypes. And we are a business now, as I said, that the phrase of a life cycle, cradle to the grave. We can take you from one extreme to the other, from basic 14-year-old G40 Cup racing to next year WEC LMP1. Again, nobody else is doing that in world motorsport. And obviously the last bullet point, we mentioned our victories, which we don't need to do. But from on behalf of Ginetta, Ian and I, absolute pleasure to meet you all. We look forward to showing you the car later. Any questions, we're always a phone call away.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks to Ginetta. And now the last manufacturer, Mercedes-AMG, and Stefan Wendel, welcome.
Hello, Edward.
Hello.
Thank you. It's a great pleasure to be here and talk in front of you and get the opportunity to present our new baby, the Mercedes-AMG GT4. But first of all, a few words to my person. I'm Stefan Wendel, Head of Customer Racing at Mercedes-AMG Motorsport. And I just get remembered during this presentation from Edward to the times and to the passion and to the emotions running through all of us when we are racing. So I was a responsible engineer from Edward when we discovered this year, my first year in GT3, entering a car in a new championship from Stefan in a European championship. And we went up and down and back and forth, had crashes and cries. And then at the last race in Solder, we won the race. We won the race, and at the end also my best customer, Patrick Söderlund, quit his career on a high, which was not good for the next year, but at least we were hungry and we kept on racing, and this is something I think we all share, this passion. So, as you hear, I'm a technician, and that's why sorry in front of my presentation that I will see all the pictures from the technical side, and I want to tell you a little bit or some things about the story, how we came to this car and what were our thoughts at the beginning of it. because it is maybe a surprise, maybe also for Stefan, that this idea for this car was not born on the racetrack. So the demand of this car came from our driving academy, which is well featured in AMG company. So there are track day customers switching car to car, and at the end they can qualify to jump up till they reach the GT3 level. And running a GT3, we discovered from our instructors and also from the customers themselves that it's quite a huge gap from, I would say, a record-breaking Mercedes-AMG GTR to a GT3 car. And it's not only the slick tires, it's also more or less it's all related to downforce. And then considering on site that the GT4 class is growing and it's getting better and bigger, it is also a very, very interesting thing for us, for me, for customer racing, and I think and I believe also for all of you. So we try to, or our goal was to develop a car which bridged the gap between the street legal car and the GT3. So this car should be made as an entry car for GT sport. It is a car for real amateur racing, but with all the ambitions or to bring all the things together. And so some numbers of it together. The goals for this car are basically the same. I think you heard all the things from all the other parties involved, but the first thing we thought about was what will we choose as a base? And we have some cars available in our AMG range, but it was quite obvious that we will use the AMG GTR as a base car. Because this is also something we have, we think all the same about this BOP, will give all the parties the same chance of winning a race, but you need to have enough performance in your pocket, and then everything will work. So then there are more things which are more important than performance, and this will be safety, this will be cost efficiency, and liability, and at the end also that the driver feels welcome in the car. So, and therefore we put all our work and our experience we had from our successful GT3 contender into the pocket. And even if some of my competitors don't like to hear it, but we put quite a lot of things from our GT3 brother, I would say, into this car. And this, more or less, everything you can see and find inside. And coming from the safety concept from our GT3 car with the roof hatch, with the roll cage, and with the DTM seat case, which should make and bring maximum safety into this car, till going to the switch panel and all the buttons and steering wheel and things like this. The movable pedal, the movable steering column. This is all things which are necessary to fit small drivers, big drivers, bigger drivers into this car. And the concept of all the switch panels and things like this is also a new development ongoing to the GT3 development, which was only 1 year old at this time. So, but all these things coming from GT3, but it's included in the car, in the package you buy. So this is nothing which will influence the running cost of your car. So you will have it if you like it, and I think you will be welcome in it. And then going outside to the car, you will see that we left it quite standard. So there was nothing to do so much. Our GTR is a very good car. It's very nice to handle. It gets it broke some records all over the world. In Bathurst, at Nürburgring Nordschleife, that's the fastest or quickest street legal car at the end. And so we have all the suspension, we have the wheel bearings, the outside chassis parts, except of the front splitter, the rear wing and the front bonnet, everything is from the street legal car. So, and provides from this perspective also a good liability and low cost. How we went on, this car discovered also a really intensive developing program. And I have to be honest, we are quite late and it's not finished yet. So just now in Portimao, we have 2 cars running around the clock since 7 days. And because we decided to finish our program that our car, 2 cars of us should reach a minimum of 8,000 kilometers without doing something else than refueling, tire change, and sometimes the brake change. And the status from yesterday evening is that we were able to make 6,300 kilometers with both cars, which is quite good. So we expect to finish this test tomorrow with some drivers in a room also involved into this. This is only one part of it, liability, but also reducing the costs is not only about running long time, you need to also have cheap parts. And this is not always so easy because it's a question out of quality and pricing. And there to find a well balance is one of our goals, and you will see as soon as catalogs are out where we are. But we have more to present than only the car. It's also about our whole concept. The concept of Mercedes-AMG customer racing, you know, we are a quite small department inside AMG, only depending out of 10 people, but these people steer a developing company, which is HWA. And HWA is our responsible DTM crew, and the same engineers developing the DTM car and the GT3 car developed also the GT4 car. And at the end, after finishing the development, they are responsible for the service and for spare parts, to the engineers on tracks and everything else. And also ongoing developing process in case it's needed due to regulation changes or whatever we will discover in the future. So we have, which is quite unique, also a CSP called portal. It's an online portal. It's like, on one hand, it's like Amazon at AMG. You can buy your parts, you can choose and look through the documentations, you can share your thoughts with other teams, with the customer management program. And this is all online and available all over the world. Same as an on-track service, which we make available in, let's say, we have to see how it develops here in the market, and it's depending on the numbers of cars in the grid. But these are all things we can put into it, and I hope I could convince you to have a close look to the car later on, or at least to speak with me about it. I'm there for you to speak about more details from everything, and thank you for being here.
Thanks, Stefan. Next speaker is Tine Boman from EKS, RX, and Boman Communication.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Edward. Nice to be here. Thanks a lot for the invitation. Thanks to you. You've been a wonderful crowd. We're reaching the end of this presentation, but bear with us for a few more moments. It will be worth it. Shortly about me, I've known Edward and Matthias not as long as they've known each other, but almost. And when Matthias started EKS, I was there from the very beginning. I was in EKS before EKS was EKS. And we actually had a media team before we had a car. So this part of racing, if you call it that, has been very important for Matthias. And I've been fortunate enough to help him out. And this is what we also want to bring into the GT4 series. And we think this concept has huge potential to make great content. As good as rallycross or better, for sure. And since talk is cheap and it's better to show than tell, we will run through a few things that we did for EKS to give you a taste of what could go into the GT4 concept. So first, a few pictures. So for us, it's been important all the way to make pictures that really strikes or evokes emotions and create this brand that we want to produce. And pictures tells 1,000 words, so movies 1,000,000. We're going to show you 3 movies as well. Also examples of things that could go into this. 3 different types. So let's just go and show the first one.
For me to do 2 races on the same weekend in different categories, one with quattro and one with rear-wheel drive, one on a race circuit and one on a rallycross track, is a really great challenge. I love when it's a lot of things happening, going testing, developing the cars, developing the team, chatting with the engineers for the best strategy, chatting with the engineers about tire pressure or setups. So for me, motorsport means a lot more than only driving the car. Generally, I just love when there's a lot of action, and I love big challenges.
Which is a good thing, because you're in for one, again. So this is one type of movies. Now we'll show you something a little bit different, more on the funny side, but something that create good content and would also fit, I think.
1, 2, 3. Ah, yes! 3, 2, 1, go! Go! 5 minutes left. Straight.
You were more lucky than me.
Number 2 again. Sorry, mate. A lot of that this year. And finally, we just wanted to be, because we cannot really do presentations and show movies if we cannot show what we did in September this year, which was the biggest production we've done so far, all done internally by EKS. So let's roll When in Riga. Thank you very much. That was it. Really looking forward to do more of this with your cars. Your cars. Your cars.
Thanks, Teen.
Thank you, Edward.
Now we have 2 more slides, I hope. I'm just gonna give you a small look into how a racing day would look like. I would like to pack it really. I would like you to drive the whole day and your friends, like I said earlier. So this is the format we're gonna use this year in GT4 Nordic Cup. And I also have a provisional calendar for you that you can have a look on. I will. And we will start with the media and test day, 28th of May at Mantorp Park. We'll go to Falkenberg in beginning of June, and then to Rudskogen in the middle of June, and later on in July to Tierp Arena. After that we go to Mantorp again for a race, and after this we go to Karlskoga. And we also have always want to have backups in case of more races. Now I think you are pretty ready to go and look at the cars and meet all people. First of all, I would like to invite all manufacturers and Stefan Rattel from SRO Motorsport up on stage again so we can thank them for coming here. And big applause. Yeah. We hope to make 2018 great, and we hope that you want to be a part of this. And now we want you to look at the cars, get some food and drink. So show us the cars.